Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back for another video. This is part 2 of our holiday kind of meals that we're trying to create for the month of December. If you guys missed the first one, we did a pork shoulder porchetta and we made it into a sandwich, and I describe how you can do it if you want to do it as an entree or main course as well. Definitely check it out. One of my favorite things I've made on this YouTube channel for sure. If you guys want to watch it, I'll leave it in the link in the top corner for you guys to check out. In today's video, I wanted to give you guys something that could be like the main course for like a smaller meal, or maybe like a second main course for a larger meal. I think one protein that can be a little bit divisive is lamb, but today we're going to be doing a rack of lamb for the holiday season. So in today's cook, I want to create a meal that people who love lamb will really love it, and those who are still maybe unsure about it are gonna like, just because we have other components to kind of combat that lamb flavor or have discussions about that lamb flavor that they might not necessarily enjoy. So with that being said, let's get cooking. Here we have a domestic rack of lamb. Picking the style of lamb will attribute to its size, but more importantly, flavor. Most imported lamb is usually free range and mostly grass-fed throughout their life, which is a key factor to its gamey flavor. I do enjoy the gamey flavor of lamb. I think it's a special taste, but most of the imported lamb has often been too gamey even for myself. Domestic lamb, on the other hand, is usually grass-fed and grain finished. It tends to have more fat and milder flavor. Even though it's more expensive than imported products, I believe it's worth the extra price. To season the rack of lamb, I'm going to create a binder using Dijon mustard and some water. The Dijon mustard also has other ingredients such as vinegar, white wine, and sugar. I think it'll give the lamb a little bit more complexity and also tone down that gamey flavor. Add enough water so that the consistency of the mustard is nice and thin. Coat the lamb with a thin layer of the binder and then season with salt and pepper. I let this rest in the fridge for a few hours while we prepare the rest of the dish. To accompany the lamb, I want to use a classic traditional pairing of
lamb and tuna fish.
Lamb and tuna fish?
Maybe you like spaghetti and meatball? You more comfortable with that analogy?
Okay, maybe not that one. Let's go with another traditional pairing of lamb and tzatziki sauce. Start off by peeling the skin of a cucumber. If the cucumber that you're using has a softer or thinner skin, you might not have to. I'm going to peel off most of it and leave some of it on for some color. It might end up being a mistake, but who knows? I'll let you know if it is later. Next, grate the peeled cucumber on a coarse grater. If the grater is not coarse enough, you'll end up with cucumber, which will make your sauce a little mealy. If you don't have a coarse grater, I would give the cucumber a rough chop to replicate a similar texture. Put the cucumber in cheesecloth or paper towel and squeeze as much excess water as possible. This will allow for the flavor and texture of the cucumber to be present without the excess water that will make your tzatziki sauce, well, watery. And now take a shot of the cucumber water for extra vitamins and hydration to get through the rest of this cook. This is what your cucumber should look like. You should be able to pack it together without it feeling wet, but brittle enough when you touch it, it falls apart. To a bowl, drop in your cucumber, 2 to 3 crushed or finely minced garlic cloves, about 2 cups of your favorite Greek yogurt, a generous squeeze of lemon juice, and at the end, we'll roughly chop together some dill and fennel fronds. Give it a good mix, make sure you season to taste, and there you go. We have ourselves an extremely easy yet flavorful tzatziki sauce. We'll set this aside for now. I want to make a nice refreshing side with the sauce. So today we're going to make a refreshing fennel tzatziki salad. I'm using fennel for its bright floral flavor and crunchy texture that will pair perfectly with the tzatziki sauce. If you want to, you can also use just more cucumber in slices instead. If you watched my last video, this may look familiar. Start off by cutting off the stalks, peel off the exterior layer of the fennel bulb, split it in half, and cut large ribbons of fennel. I'm going to salt the fennel, so it's important that we don't cut it too thin for this preparation, or they'll get too soft when mixed with the tzatziki sauce. Next, cut the stalks in half so they look like celery, and cut them a bit thinner than you did with the bulb because the stalks can be a bit more fibrous. Into a large mixing bowl, throw in the sliced bulbs and stalks of the fennel, sprinkle some salt, and give it a good toss and let it sit for at least an hour to season and draw out excess water from the fennel. Once the fennel has been properly seasoned and drained, mix the fennel and tzatziki sauce together. I would recommend mixing it together shortly before serving to keep the fennel from getting too wilted from the sauce. Now that our side is done, let's get back to the lamb. To start our fire, we're going to start with Korean newspaper that's been aged for about 3.5 weeks. That's the proper age of newspaper that you're looking for when cooking a rack of lamb. Then, Fogo fire starters, and Fogo lump charcoal. Once the coals are ready, I'm going to dump them onto one side of my SNS grill and add in a few more charcoal chunks on top to get it extra hot. Throw the rack of lamb meat side down on the hottest part of the fire for about 30 seconds to a minute to help render that top fat. Then the sides for a few seconds, and also the back of the rack of lamb for even browning. Then move the lamb over to the indirect side. I had some leftover herbs, so I threw them onto the fire for extra flavor. Cook at about 350 degrees until it reaches an internal temperature of 130 degrees. While we wait, I'm going to turn on my oven at the lowest setting possible to act as a warmer when the lamb is done. Once the lamb has reached an internal temperature you're looking for, brush the lamb with an infused butter of garlic, rosemary, and thyme. At this point, all I'm trying to do is reset the bark. I don't want it to cook too much longer because we already cooked it to medium, so make sure your fire is extra hot. I'm also going to drop in some butter on the fire to get the temperature really hot to sear. Once you have nice color on all sides of the lamb, I'm going to let it rest in the oven until we're ready to serve. While the lamb rests, I'm going to toast some pita. Take some of the herb butter and lightly brush it on both sides. Toast the pita on both sides to get a nice dark brown color, and it starts to puff up. And once those are done, we'll also put these in the oven to rest. After the lamb has been resting for about 15 minutes, it's ready to cut. To slice this lamb, because the bark is super delicate, I don't think you need to use a serrated slicer like I usually do. Just use a knife that has a nice thin blade, hold it up and go straight down between the bones. You might hit a small bone at the bottom. If you do, just turn your knife slightly to take a different angle and use more of a push cut rather than sawing motion to get clean edges on the sides of your lamb. While the fat could be rendered just a little bit more, I'm okay with it since the doneness of the lamb is perfect from edge to edge. And during the cooking process, you can see how the lamb has plumped up. Even though it looked really small when we were seasoning it earlier, look how much bigger it's gotten. It almost looks like I did a swap, but I promise you, I don't have enough money to do swaps on this YouTube channel yet. Cut your pita into 6 pieces, and it's time to plate. And there you have it, folks. This is our smoked and grilled rack of lamb served with a fennel tzatziki salad and herb butter pita. The lamb is super delicate. You get that nice lamb flavor without hitting you over the head with it. I think the Dijon mustard also adds a little nice background note of flavor that you wouldn't necessarily say tastes like mustard, but it's there to add a little bit something more than just salt and pepper. I really think the salad brings everything together. The yogurt and the tzatziki and the crunch and sweetness from that fennel is perfect. When you're eating this lamb, some of the bites can be a little bit fatty. Brightness from the tzatziki sauce and the fennel just allows you to keep going back more and more for that lamb. And the toast and the pita is a contrast that you're looking for that super tender lamb. And yes, chopsticks are the best utensils for this meal. The combinations of the flavors and the textures in all-in-one bite might just be your new favorite holiday tradition. It's flavorful yet light. The lamb itself, I feel like, has a holiday flavor to it already, and this is a meal that doesn't really break the bank. So if you're looking for a meal that's a little more affordable and slightly different than what you typically may do, I would highly recommend this recipe. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Just, possibly giving you guys a different idea of, maybe a main course or just an appetizer on a side if you guys want to make it that way. But just trying to take not just the rack of lamb, but different components to make it just a dipping sauce or just make it a plate for everybody. If you have a small kind of gathering for Christmas, I think would be super awesome. And for those of you who might not necessarily love lamb, maybe you've always been just picking the wrong stuff. I know for a long time I did, and even though I liked it, there were certain times where even for myself it was a little bit challenging. And in the next 2 videos I'll be doing a beef Wellington and a prime rib, but I'll be putting my slight small twist on those things just to give you guys another option to maybe change things up a little bit for your holidays if you're used to doing those 2 items. But that's it in this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.